Hey guys, happy Monday. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Tina van Sachs. I'm a certified sobriety and transformation coach. I am also the founder of the Sober Month Experiment, where I help women establish or examine their relationship with alcohol. Alcohol is what I help people with mostly just because of my own story. However, it's not just limited to that. Usually alcohol is just the band-aid, and once we take that off, there's deeper transformation that happens. I'm really big on understanding the conscious, the subconscious mind. I love that stuff. I read so much about it, and I just enjoy passing on information. And so if you want to find out more about the Sober Month Experiment, you can email me info@tinavansax.com. You can also check out my website, which is www.tinavansax.com, or just comment here. So again, thank you for tuning in. And today I like to talk a little bit about the hero's journey. You're like, what? Why about the hero's journey? What does that have to do with anything? So the hero's journey is actually a template that a lot of movies are made from. The Matrix, the Rocky, there was another one, Lord of the Rings, and it was originally called Monomyth and written by Joseph Campbell. And if you think about it, the hero's journey really describes us. You know, we are all the heroes of our own lives, and we all go to similar transformations in life, just as in the Matrix, just as in the Rocky movie. It's, you know, there's usually something that happens. Either, you know, we're bored, we just don't want to continue with our life anymore as it is, or something painful happens. For some people that might be a sudden sickness, it might be when you drink too much, it might be hitting rock bottom, just something that's really drastic that at some point wakes you up in a way and you decide to change. So then you decide to change, you start this process of change. For most people, it starts with setting goals, and that's amazing, but goals are usually outcome based, right? So let's say you do have a goal of losing 20 pounds or stopping drinking for 30 days. A lot of people who try January and they're doing fine because in their mind they can drink again February 1st. Actually, a lot of people celebrate ending January 31st in a bar on February 1st because they did it. So really, it's good to do that. It's better than having a month, you know, sober or being on a healthy diet for a month than not at all. But it doesn't transform your life. It's an outcome-based goal, and usually after a while we go back to the original pattern, the original habit that we created for ourselves. So then we try again, and then we try again, and then eventually we might get it, and then we become really transformed. We kind of let go of our own old identity, become a new identity, and then we come back in a way into this old world that still operates the same, but we are no longer the same. And most of the times this is when we then inspire or motivate others to start their own journey. So the hero's journey itself has 12 steps, and if you're interested, I post it later. Comment, let me know. It's way too long for me to go through each step right now, but just look at it maybe if I post it later and see where are you at, where can you see yourself in that journey. And today I want to, you know, in conjunction with the hero's journey, talk about what does it take to really transform your identity. We are all on the journey. You are the hero in the process of discovery and transformation. So how do we transform, and why is this so hard? Why do we keep going back to old habits even though we know they are no longer serving us? So we have to understand first, and you know, there's this author called Maxwell Malt, and I think he passed away in 1975, but he was a cosmetic surgeon, and he wrote a book, Psycho-Cybernetics, where he realized that after performing surgery on his patients, they still saw themselves as the old person, even though they had like maybe new facial features, new body. They wouldn't accept that for a while because the outer identity did not match what they believed to be on the inside. So it took a while to change. So he wrote a book about it, and that was actually the blueprint and the start for a lot of self-help books, and a lot of, like, Tony Robbins, you know, started to teach his teachings based on that book. Dr. Joe Dispenza has parts of it in it as well. It's really, if you read self-help books, you know, if you are like me and you read pretty much every book on the planet about self-help, you understand and you see that there's a pattern, and they're pretty much all teaching the same thing, right? So Dr. Joe Dispenza, which is somebody I follow and I admire so much, He says our personality creates our personal reality. How we think is how we feel and how we act. Therefore, if we become aware of our thoughts, we can change how we feel, and then we change how we act. So the first step to really transforming your life from the inside out, not an outcome-based goal, but really from the inside out. It's good to have a goal. Like your goal is maybe to stop drinking for a while, but then look deeper and say, okay, what is my belief system? How am I showing up in this world, and why am I showing up in this world like that? We all have an inner self, an image, an identity we hold on to, run by our subconscious, and we do everything we can to reflect that until we are able to break out of it. So everything is run subconsciously, and we cannot change until we become aware of it. So you heard that many times. Awareness is the first key of change. How to become aware? We become aware by meditation. I hated meditation, by the way. I hated meditation. I was the worst, yoga and meditation, honestly, as the people that know me. But I gave it a try, and now I love yoga. I cannot get enough of it. And meditation, I started loving. I started with a minute a day. Now I'm up to 5. Sometimes I sit there for 25 minutes, and sometimes I manage to let my thoughts just go by, observe, and sometimes I just sit there and I'm like, oh my gosh, when is this over? When is this over? But it made a huge difference in my life, and it helps you understand more about yourself, and it helps you understand why you do the things you do and why you act the way you act. If you think about it, you are your belief system, you are your labels, you are what you took on mostly as a child, and you believed it to be true. And when we grow up, that stuff is mostly no longer working for us. And it's not your fault, but we can change it. Until we are 7 years old, every message that we get gets filtered into our subconscious mind without, the logic that we have to think about it for a second. So no matter if you believe, you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough, we all have these self-limiting beliefs, and they mostly stem from our childhood. You don't always get in life what you want, but you always get a reflection of who you are. Transforming is about shifting your identity. So again, the first step is become aware of your identity. What stories are you telling yourself? I made a video about this last week. What labels did you accept? What judgments, what labels? We are in this little box, and it's almost like a prison. Nobody is making rules other than yourself. And it sounds so easy. Okay, I just changed my rules. You got to believe it, and you got to be it, actually. And then slowly your reality will change, and that's a fact. So we are free in life to do what we want, but the stories we tell ourselves is what keeps us trapped. And again, it's rules, mostly rules and labels. So you see yourself in this little box that you're in, and you have all those rules that you go by and all those labels that you confirm by. But deep down, you're worth more, you can do more. So it's a matter of becoming aware of it, and then giving these events that happen to you a different meaning is one thing to do it. There's therapeutic work, there's shadow work, or the art of letting go. And also I posted information about that in previous videos. Check out my YouTube channel if you like to find it. But it's basically understanding that this is no longer who you are. You don't have to operate by those labels and judgments any longer that only you put on yourself. Nobody else can make you do anything. So letting go of these, understanding this is who you are, accepting it, and then letting it go. And with that, you can then move on to step 2, which is creating an intention, a true intention of who you want to become, your future self. See yourself. Who do you want to be? Visualize it, feel it. Imagine all the things you can do with your life. Imagine the new job that you have. How would you like to show up in the world? What change would you like to see in the world? And then be it. Put the action behind it. Be it. And in the beginning, it feels extremely uncomfortable. And the simplest example I can give you is the example of drinking. For me personally, at some point, drinking was destroying me more than it would make me feel good. And it would also not be so nice. I wouldn't be good with my friends, with my family. My kids saw me often in a not so nice way. And I really truly hated it, but yet I kept coming back to it until I looked a little bit deeper and understood that the drinking wasn't really the problem. It was more my self-limiting beliefs and how I went to that substance to numb who I no longer was, but didn't know how to be and how I become a different person. For me, it was always just, okay, I stop drinking and everything will change, but that was not really the case. Drinking was the first stop I needed to make. And I felt extremely uncomfortable, and I still have to work on it. I work on it all the time, and I'm not perfect at it. But I understand even with failures, you learn from it and then you move on. You learn from it, you don't stay there, and you don't go back to the old person. That's the definition of insanity. You're doing stuff over and over again. You keep getting the same results over and over. So you really have to do something completely different if you want different results. And it doesn't mean that you are not allowed to fail, that you are not allowed to have moments where you just don't know any longer how to go on. Just understand this is part of the process. This is part of creating your own journey, creating your own reality, creating what works for you, and no longer being limited by your beliefs that no longer serve you, or by labels, judgments, rules that only you took on and that you put on yourself. You can create anything in life if you really want to, but you have to put the action behind it. So it's the intention, and then there comes the action. And for me, for some people it takes longer, and that's okay too. We are all on different journeys. For me, it took years of trying to moderate and stopping and quitting and going back and stopping and quitting. And it's still not perfect, but I'm not stopping the action. I take action. I took action to now coach in different groups around alcohol, or how to break self-limiting beliefs. Am I perfect myself? No, absolutely not. I still struggle with that myself. And then I have to either talk to a friend that knows me very well and be reminded of the steps for myself, or I, word it in a group, or I look at other people and see what they have been doing, like Dr. Joe Dispenza. I keep reading his books. It's work, but it's amazing work. And it's like with anything you do in life, once you stop doing it, you kind of go back to your old self. And because it's the ego, it's the subconscious that's, once it's created, it's always there. It doesn't go away, but it can only hold on to one belief at the time. So once you kind of change your beliefs and you keep moving in that direction towards the new identity that you like to create for yourself, it gets easier and easier. It doesn't matter that you don't have obstacles and that you sometimes have days where you just don't want to go on anymore, but nothing is harder than staying the same. So keep that in mind. So I hope that helps a little bit. I like to talk about this much more because there is just so much more to talk about. But ask me any questions you have around that subject. Do you understand your self-limiting beliefs? Do you understand your core values? Do you know who you want to become? Those are all questions you can ask yourself that help a little bit to look deeper. And, it's very hard to find answers to those questions without the tools of meditations, or while we still numb, either with drinking or with drugs or with TV or with pot or with anything, anything that numbs kind of our spirit. It numbs the connection to our subconscious mind as well. All right, that was it for today. Again, send me an email if you have any questions, info@tinavansax.com. Check out my YouTube channel. It's called Sober Month Experiment -tinavansax.com. Ask me about my next group that I'm going to start in October. It's August, October. Thanks, guys. I see you next Monday. Okay, bye.